Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Hush money contradiction. I'm Hannah Doba with details on President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, claiming the president knew about a payment to porn star Stormy Daniels.
And back here in the Treasure State, the governor declares a flood emergency for all of Montana. Coming up, local officials tell us what you can do when waters start to rise. 6:31 on this Thursday, our top story this half hour. The president's new lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, says Mr. Trump reimbursed his personal lawyer for the money he gave a porn star just before the 2016 election. The president has said he had no knowledge of that deal with Stormy Daniels. CBS's Hannah Doba is in New York with the story.
President Trump repaid his personal attorney for a $130,000 payment sent to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. That's according to Rudy Giuliani, who joined the president's legal team 2 weeks ago.
Something to do with paying some Stormy Daniels woman $130,000, I mean, which is going to turn out to be perfectly legal. That money was not campaign money.
Giuliani's claim directly contradicts what the president told reporters aboard Air Force One last month.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
No.
Mr. Trump referred questions about the deal to his longtime lawyer, Michael Cohen.
He didn't know about the specifics of it, as far as I know. But he did know about the general arrangement that Michael would take care of things like this.
Daniels claims she was paid to keep quiet about a 2006 sexual encounter with the president. Her attorney, Michael Avenatti, said he was stunned by Giuliani's statements.
The American people have been lied to about this agreement, about the $130,000, about the reimbursements. We just didn't know that Rudy Giuliani was going to go on the Sean Hannity show and admitted on national television.
Giuliani said Mr. Trump only learned the specifics of the agreement with Daniels after Cohen's offices were raided by the FBI on April 9th. Hannah Doba, CBS News, New York.
Now, Giuliani says the reimbursement invalidates any claims that Cohen or the president broke any campaign finance laws by sending money to Daniels. Back here in the Treasure State, Montana Governor Steve Bullock has declared a statewide flood emergency. He did that yesterday. The governor's office offering aid to counties impacted by recent flooding. Rainfall combined with snow melt from well above average snowfall for the 2017 and 2018 winter season has increased the flooding risk across the state. Gallatin County hasn't been impacted by recent flooding. However, members of Gallatin County Emergency Management Services says it's very important to have a plan in place if the rivers do crest their banks.
You live somewhere where there's water that flows past your house, and maybe it's not even directly adjacent to your house, but through your neighborhood, you should consider that you could be at risk of flooding someday. And so we would encourage people, especially today, to spend a little bit of time and think about how they think they could be affected by water and what they would need to do to protect their property if flooding did occur.
Now, Lonergan went on to say you can find out more on how you can protect your home from flooding at readygallatin.com or just simply visit our website links. Matt, that lends us nicely into what we've been talking about this flooding situation here for several days. It's not gone away by any means.
And it's probably going to intensify. Several flooding advisories, a flood warning out for parts of Montana. You can see that shaded in the green area. Right now, southwest Montana is pretty quiet. We're going to talk about river levels coming up here in the next few minutes. Temperatures into the 30s for most of the area. 21 in West Yellowstone. Our skies are relatively quiet. We do have a few clouds out there, but our temperatures should rise very nicely as you head into the afternoon. We do have a few rain chances in the forecast. We'll talk about that and a bit of a warm up by Friday. Your complete forecast, of course, coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Just ahead of 6:35 now on this Thursday. Missoula police investigating vandalism at Senator Steve Daines' downtown Missoula office. On Twitter, the senator commented, quote, "It's disturbing that folks have turned to vandalizing my Missoula office, but thankful my staff is safe. Law enforcement currently investigating that situation, and we are watching it closely," end quote. Now, a staffer with Daines' office in Washington, D.C. says the senator doesn't have very much information on the incident at this time, but staff members are working with Missoula law enforcement. It's not known when the vandalism occurred. Meantime, two Democratic candidates trying for a shot at the House of Representatives stopped by Butte yesterday. TN's John Amy was at the Butte Boroughs Club luncheon to hear how the candidates are trying to win their party's support.
John Heenan and Grant Keir, the two Democratic candidates who have raised the most money in their congressional bids to unseat Republican incumbent Greg Gianforte, stopped in Butte Wednesday to deliver a message of standing up for the average Montanan.
We deserve representatives that are going to represent us, not the 0.1% of people that are unwilling to pay their fair share. The hope right now, the hope I'm seeing right now, is that people are realizing trickle-down economics doesn't work, but trickle-down scarcity does work, and it devastates our local communities.
When questioned about their stance on gun control, both candidates say they don't support banning the AR-15, but they do want to find common sense solutions to gun violence in this country.
We need to fund the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, and the NIH so that we understand what our policies can do to make our communities safer. I support banning the bump stocks, closing the gun show loophole, enforcing the laws that are on the books.
Both candidates say they support campaign reform, getting the dark money out of politics, because they say that politicians are not looking out for the working class Americans.
Standing up to powerful corporate interests. You know, my background is I sit across the table from people that have been cheated by banks, insurance companies, and I figure out with them how can we fight back.
I think Montanans are looking for people to represent them who understand the everyday struggles of hardworking families who have been through those and really appreciate what it means to change policies in D.C. and what those impacts mean for people.
Heenan and Keir are being challenged in the primary race by John Meyer, Jared Pettinato, and Kathleen Williams. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Now, those other three Democratic candidates did not show up for that meeting in Butte. All five Democratic candidates for Congress will take part in a debate tonight at 7 o'clock. You can watch it live stream on our websites. Shifting gears, Montana's traditional lodging industry says the Airbnb rentals may not be paying their fair share of lodging taxes, that the state should consider legislation to even the playing field. Montana Lodging and Hospitality Association released a study this week that says the online rental service Airbnb collected $69 million in revenue in Montana last year. Association Director Stuart Doggett says that revenue is subject to the state's 7% lodging tax. Airbnb says that number is inaccurate and that the revenue is closer to $20 million. But Doggett says the hotel-motel industry believes legislation is needed to clearly identify who pays the tax for Airbnb rentals and how it should be collected.
It isn't enough money that it matters to our state's economy. We would like the Department of Revenue and others to work with us on passing some legislation because we just think that there's some money that's not being collected that could benefit our government.
By the way, the state lodging tax brought in $54 million last year. In other news, an Idaho woman received minor injuries when she was attacked by a bison near Old Faithful on Tuesday. The woman was walking on a trail near Old Faithful and did not see the animal coming around a corner. When the two met, the bison dropped its head and pushed the 72-year-old woman off the trail. Rangers responded and treated the woman's minor injuries. Park visitors are warned to stay at least 25 yards from bison, but in this case, no citation was issued. 6:39 now. We're going to take a quick break here on Montana This Morning. When we come back, it's big, it's unpredictable, and it's come to life once again in Yellowstone. We'll take a closer look at the park's massive steamboat geyser. But first, here's a closer look at what's coming up at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, contradicts the president's past statement about the payment to Stormy Daniels. Ricky Kleeman is here with the potential legal implications, and so is Stormy Daniels' lawyer. And world champion surfer Kelly Slater shows us how to catch the perfect wave. Look at him, miles from the nearest coastline. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.